But right now, this.
I know why you're here.
The Queen has created a powerful curse.
I shall destroy your happiness if it is the last thing I do.
Time will stop and we will be trapped. Everything we love will be ripped from us while we suffer for all eternity. No more happy endings.
What can we do?
That there is a show called Once Upon a Time, and we'll be talking about that very shortly with Chris Philpott, because it's the On the Box on the radio feature, Talking TV here. Chris Philpott joining us from stuff.co.nz. Hi there, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. Yes, that'll be in our what we shouldn't be watching section. But first up, let's look at some of the big news. Netflix looks like they're making their expansions worldwide, or at least to a part of the world anyway.
Yeah, well, they've announced this week that they're planning to move into the UK and Ireland, which is, I think, their first move outside of North America. And it kind of gives hope. You know, they're moving in. It'll be 2012 in the UK and Ireland. Unlimited streaming of TV and films over the internet, which is what they're famous for, of course. They won't be doing their DVD by mail service, which they do in America, similar to what we've got here with Fatso.
Yeah.
But it gives hope for us. I mean, this is the kind of thing that would work in Australia and New Zealand. And if Netflix are planning on taking over the world, maybe we're next on their list.
Well, one can only hope. They're having troubles back in America with their pricing and their profit results. The profit results, in fact, out I think today. They're down 800,000 subscribers in this quarter because they decided to split the DVD and streaming businesses into two. One they were going to call something else, Quickster or something along those lines. And they put the price so they also kept the streaming price the same, but they said, well, if you want your DVDs, you're also going to have to pay this amount as well. And it used to be in a bundle that was a little bit cheaper. People thought that was a bit of a price rise, when in fact really it wasn't. They were just attempting to split the business. However, they've had a revolt, I suppose, from their customers, and now they're having to, I guess, rethink their whole business plan and how it's all going to work.
Yeah. Well, I think moving into other territories possibly is part of their plan for recovering from that loss. You've got a bit of experience with Netflix, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can get a Netflix account in New Zealand if you just do a few trickery, wizardry things with your IP address.
How do you find the service? Like, is it a good service? Is it good value for money? Do you use it a lot?
It is. I mean, $7.99 American, so it works out around about $10 New Zealand a month. Is extremely good value. That's unlimited streaming of their catalogue. Now, I've got to say, their catalogue isn't extensive. It's not like their DVD catalogue where you can get basically anything you want on DVD. Yeah. But it's extensive enough. I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of episodes of TV shows. Currently, I'm going back through the Damages TV series at the moment, catching up on all the stuff I missed out on there. There are the latest movies, not all the latest movies, but there's just a bunch of stuff from a whole heap of different movie studios going way, way, way back. And you're never short of anything to watch because the catalogue is so huge. You just sit back and browse. It's across many devices. You can see it on your Mac or your PC, but also on your Xbox, your PlayStation, your phone, your tablet devices, your iPhone or Android devices. So I mean, there's just so many ways of enjoying it. The only thing that is stopping us in New Zealand of I guess a whole lot of people picking up these Netflix accounts is your data caps, because you can burn through your data pretty quickly.
What about the content, I guess, is the big question. If it was to work in New Zealand, it would be no good if it was still in line with our local channels. We'd need content ahead of that, wouldn't we?
We would, and we would need Sky to loosen the stranglehold that it currently has on some of this premium content as well.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if it would work in this country. I think it would, but only if we had things available with American release dates.
Yeah.
And that's where there's some doubt with their move into the UK, if that will be the case there, if there'll be shows that haven't been on in the UK first available on Netflix.
Well,
and I think that'll be the big selling point internationally will be to get shows ahead of them being released.
So apparently there is a big difference between, say, the Canadian Netflix and the US Netflix. They just haven't been able to work out the same licenses for the Canadians that they have in the US.
Yeah, it's all this licensing stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's what it comes down to. And all it really is just the right people sitting around a boardroom table, shaking hands and signing the right pieces of paper. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Oh, well, it would be interesting to see if it worked, and hopefully we might see that in the next year or so.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's move on to the TV review.
Well, it's a TV preview this week. I thought we'd have a look at the first week lineup for SoHo, which, of course, SoHo is the new premium content channel starting on Sky. It'll be Channel 10 starting from Monday, the 31st of October. That's next Monday, 3 p.m. it kicks off. And I just wanted to run through the list of shows that are going to be on there because it's an incredible first week lineup. We've got Monday night Game of Thrones kicks off, of course. It starts at 8:30 p.m. It's a double episode next Monday. Then Tuesday we've got Rescue Me Series 5, which is on, and Dexter Series 6. We've got Wednesday Weeds Series 6 and The Killing, the US remake of the Danish show, of course. And then we've got Thursday How to Make It in America and Treme. And Friday they're showing TV movies. Saturday The Hour, which is a BBC spy show. And Sunday Boardwalk Empire 2. And then through the week they've got Mad Men and In Treatment, 2 shows on every night. And repeats of 6 Feet Under, Sopranos, Entourage and True Blood. Now that's a hell of a lineup, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. It's a fantastic lineup. Is it all just HBO stuff at the moment?
It's not. Well, most of it is HBO stuff. Rescue Me, Dexter, The Killing, a couple of others I can't think of off the top of my head are from other networks,
okay.
Showtime, FX, AMC. But the majority of it is HBO stuff. All of the repeated stuff is from HBO. Your 6 Feet Under, Sopranos, Entourage, True Blood. And I think HBO will be kind of the backbone for this channel, and it's the best model to go with. For a subscription channel, it's going to be worth its money. HBO has content available. They're constantly making new content, so it seems like that's the best way to go, is to use HBO as kind of the backbone and then supplement it with shows from other networks. And it cuts all the other free-to-air networks out of using HBO shows. The Sopranos, for example, aired on TV1 originally. That won't ever happen again. It's going to be on SoHo from now on.
Well, that's right. Are you upgrading?
With that lineup,
are you upgrading your Sky subscription?
I definitely am, and I'm pretty sure my viewing's going to double. I'm going to be watching Entourage. That's starting from Series 1 next week,
cool.
And I'll be watching that again. I'll be watching 6 Feet Under again. But then there's shows like Treme is a show that I picked up a Blu-ray of it a couple of weeks ago, and I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I'll probably watch that on SoHo.
Yeah.
Weeds is a show that I like. I'll be watching that on SoHo. Dexter is a show that I love. I'll be watching that. And it's going to pretty much double my viewing each week, I think. I'm going to need to somehow expand my days out to 36 hours or something like that. We'll see what happens.
Who needs sleep? Sleep. You have plenty of time to sleep.
I'll sleep when I'm dead, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, all right, well, cool. SoHo. So that's an extra, $10 on top of the Sky package?
It is $10, and I think it's worth the money. Even if you've seen some of the shows, there'll be plenty of new stuff coming on. HBO makes some really good TV movies and miniseries as well that I haven't even mentioned there. And it's just going to be worth it if you're into a bit of televisual entertainment.
Cool.
I think SoHo probably is going to be the channel you watch most.
All right, well, now into the what we shouldn't be watching, or what you can get a hold of, but you're probably not allowed to in New Zealand. Content. What is it?
It's a show called Once Upon a Time. It's from the ABC network. It's produced by the two writers from Lost, Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. And they've got help from Damon Lindelof, one of the creators of Lost as well. And basically what it is, it's a modern retelling of fairy tales. Now, it's got Jennifer Morrison, who you may know from House. She just recently finished a long arc on How I Met Your Mother on TV4. Jennifer Goodwin from Big Love. Robert Carlyle, who, of course, starred in Stargate Universe and was in Trainspotting. And, of course, one of our favourites, Wammo, Giancarlo Esposito, the old Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, who plays He plays a magic mirror.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Cool.
And also a reporter for a newspaper called The Mirror. Basically what the show is, there's an evil queen who reminds me a lot of my ex-girlfriend, and she basically curses all the characters in this magical land that they don't really name, and sends them to Storybrooke, Maine, which is a town in present-day USA, and there are no happy endings there. Basically, she's cursed them all to this life where there are no happy endings. So every character plays a dual character. Snow White lives in the magical land, but she's a school teacher in Storybrooke, Maine. The evil queen becomes the mayor of this new town. Rumpelstiltskin becomes the guy who is the richest guy in the new town. The magic mirror becomes a journalist who works for the paper in the new town, and they don't know their past. And what happens is Jennifer Morrison shows up, and she tries to help them break the curse and get back to their former very, very happy magical lives. It's an interesting show. It's a drama straight up, with a few fairy tale elements, lots of flashbacks which kind of make it a bit disjointed, but it's pretty entertaining. It's kind of, have you ever seen that movie with Amy Adams and the guy from Grey's Anatomy? I think it's called Enchanted. It's a kids movie.
Okay.
And basically it's kind of like that. It's this, part Desperate Housewives, part Disney movie kind of mashup. It's entertaining enough, but I don't know if it would be something I would watch long term. Now, it did have big ratings in the States this week, though.
Sounds like maybe a female skew?
Definitely skewed at females, but I think there's probably enough there, mythology-wise, longer story, and it's not really sort of your romantic drama type thing. There's enough there, I think, to keep male viewers interested. And it could be an entertaining show. I don't know. I'm not going to be watching it too much. I might check out another couple of episodes, but it's there. It could be worth checking out if you're into that kind of thing.
Just talking about that, referencing what we should be watching a few weeks ago, are you still watching, say, Pan Am or the Playboy Mansion?
The Playboy one got cancelled a few weeks ago. That one made it, I think, to 3 episodes and then got cancelled. Pan Am, I've checked out a couple of further episodes, and that one is... It's okay. It's a Mad Men knockoff. It doesn't have the same bite as Mad Men, but it's definitely worth checking out. The one I am watching is New Girl with Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, you're still watching that? Okay.
Which is hilarious. It's a really good comedy. Hasn't been as good as the pilot episode, but it's definitely still very, very funny and definitely worth watching.
I've got to say, watched Walking Dead Series 2, Episode 2 last night. I think you were right what you were saying before the launch of this season, that the emphasis on the characters is not working for me so much, because I don't really like any of the characters. I don't really feel involved with any of them. I couldn't care if they got eaten or not. So I'm going to stick with it, but it's just not grabbing me like season 1 did.
I think they're going to, at some point in the next episode or two, they're going to have to start replacing character stories with events. And I think we saw the first of that with Shane taking off with the guy who... Can I spoil the show? I don't know if I should. Shane and a new character called Otis go to a school to get medical supplies and get stuck there. And I think that's what we're going to have, is these little mission-based events that will replace some of the character stuff.
Yeah.
The only actor I think who's impressed me through the first 2 episodes is Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes. I think he's been fantastic, especially in the second episode with a certain event that I don't want to mention on the radio, which he has to deal with. And the fallout from that, he's really turned in a fantastic performance.
Okay. All right, well, what's coming up on New Zealand TV this week?
Well, only 2 things this week that I'm going to recommend. The first is Operation 8, which is a documentary showing on Māori TV, 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, about the raids on Ruatoki back in 2007.
Cool.
You may remember the Uruwera 8 or whatever they were called. It's a 2-hour documentary kind of following how that happened, what the fallout was, and all of that side of things. And then on Monday night, 10 o'clock on 1, there's a new miniseries. It's only 4 parts, I believe, called Mad Dogs. It's a black comedy about 4 friends who get into trouble on holiday in Mallorca. It sounds like a British kind of The Hangover kind of, I don't know what else you would combine it with, but it's apparently very, very funny and worth looking at.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, find out more with the On The Box blog over at stuff.co.nz. Chris Philpott NZ on Twitter as well. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
And happy TV.